We have the highest level of corruption and cronyism and patronage of any state in America. We have lower family incomes today than we had 17 years ago in Illinois. We are fundamentally in decline because of the control of Speaker Madigan and his Democrats.
Hello, welcome to Only in Illinois, your weekly recap from Reboot Illinois. I'm Madeline Dubeck, this is Matt Dietrich, and what you just listened to was an introduction to an exciting new venture we have at Reboot Illinois that we want to tell you all about. We have partnered up with the fantastic organization PolitiFact and have launched PolitiFact Illinois as part of Reboot Illinois. So what does that mean, Matt?
Well, PolitiFact is a fact-checking website that was founded in 2007 by the Tampa Bay Times to fact-check during the 2008 presidential election, and it got rolling so well that they've kept it going. A few years back, they won the Pulitzer Prize for their work, and PolitiFact
Which is the highest
right,
honor
that's the highest honor in journalism. And PolitiFact is well known. You may have seen them before because they're known for their Truthometer,
right,
which is the scale by which you rate statements that politicians, pundits, and others make. And we joined this week. We have our first fact check on rebootillinois.com and also on PolitiFactIllinois.com. And our first fact check was of the quote that you heard in the introduction.
Which you wrote.
Which I wrote.
And researched.
And something that everyone should know about the fact-checking process through PolitiFact is it's extremely rigorous. You spend a lot of time, you go to the original source of the statement that was made, find out where they got their information from, and you go from there. Find out if a fact is true, facts, figures, votes when political campaigns start. They start hurling accusations back and forth. But you always start with the original source and you go from there. And in this case, Governor Rauner made a statement about household income in Illinois, and it came from a U.S. Census Bureau chart. And so I started there and took a look at it and got some outside opinion on the statement. And you can go to rebootillinois.com and see in detail why we ruled the way we did. Should I go ahead and spoil it and say that we found it to be not quite 100% true? I'll say that much.
Okay. Check it out. It's a good read. And the other thing that is neat and somewhat unique about the PolitiFact system is that all of your sources are laid out in great detail and hyperlinked, so readers can judge for themselves what they think about what you found and who you spoke with and all of those details.
Right. You can link to everything in my fact check, for example. It's all right there on the website. You can click to it and see what you think and draw your own conclusion. You may disagree.
It's very transparent, and the Truthometer is pretty extensive, I would say. It's not just yes, it's true, no, it's not. There's 6 different levels, because PolitiFact recognizes that there's oftentimes a lot of context that you need to make these decisions, and when you're evaluating political rhetoric and political speech, there are many, many shades of gray. Things are not black and white, despite the polarized nature of campaigns and our political culture in Illinois and America. So we're going to try to cut through all of that and provide readers and citizens and voters with some excellent information that helps them really get a handle on whether what they hear is the truth or not, sort out the truth.
And the PolitiFact pieces, the fact checks that you see on rebootillinois.com will be our work, but they're also, before they get published, we have to go through a process with the PolitiFact team, which is located partly in Tampa, partly
Right.
in Washington, D.C.
Right.
They go through, they make sure that we've made our case accurately. Anything that we've missed, we go back and fill in. If they think something is invalid, they might toss the whole thing out. So it's a rigorous process, and
Definitely some checks and balances and some outside judges throughout the whole process.
Right, and I should point out that it didn't take long after our first fact check was published this week, the one that I wrote about Governor Rauner, when the criticism started coming in. And in this age of social media, it's so easy to comment on things, and people have their opinions, and you will find a lot of different opinions, even when we've gone through this whole process to check a fact and say whether it's true, how true it is on the scale. But already we're hearing from people who think that PolitiFact itself is biased. And I find that interesting because if you look through PolitiFact, you'll find they've graded and they've put everybody through their Truthometer process. On the left, on the right, memes from social media,
Right.
presidential candidates, you name it.
They also have punditfact.com,
That checks the many commentators that we have.
talking heads. And the thing that's neat about it is you can search and sort it many different ways on the PolitiFact website. And with the conventions coming up, that's another great resource to have as we head into that. We'll be able to share some PolitiFact stories from the convention, and they'll be fact checking like crazy. So it's a good website to check out. In addition to rebootillinois.com, politifact.com, and you can get to the Illinois page from that main website, or type in politifact.com/Illinois.
Right. And like I said, you may not agree with all of our ratings, but you're going to learn something if you read these things because a lot of research goes into them. And keep in mind, Illinois has probably the most intensely watched U.S. Senate campaign
Right.
just getting underway between Tammy Duckworth and Mark Kirk. Our second fact check is now on our site also. It has to do with a tweet that the Duckworth campaign sent out, so I'd encourage everyone to hopefully get online, go to our site and see that.
And we're going to have plenty of fodder, and this is another tool and way in which we can help you do your jobs as citizens and voters. So we're pretty thrilled about it, and we hope you find it as useful as we do. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next edition of Only in Illinois.